What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So today is a great day for PvZ Heroes. We are so back to the golden era of PvZ Heroes here. The devs have heard the outcry of the community and have quickly reverted 3 different changes in the recent plants balance patch. Forget-me-nots has gone back to only reducing zombie tricks by 1 brain. The Primal Sunflower is now only giving you 1 sun per turn instead of 2. And then the third one, which is a surprise to a lot of people, is the Torchwood also got reverted. This is no longer giving team up. It's exactly what it used to do. 1 cost, 3 health, adding 2 attack. 2 AP, which is behind it. The Forget-me-nots and the Primal Sunflower were super important. These were easily the most oppressive cards in the recent balance patch. I really think now we are in a very, very good spot. I'm going to be going through in the rest of this video now, going through the new changes again, and it's just so this isn't going to be a repeat of the last video when I reacted to this balance patch when it was leaked. Instead of talking about each card individually, I'm going to be grouping the cards into categories based on how I think they are going to affect the overall PvZ Heroes meta. There's first going to be the cards that are going to be meta defining. They're going to be very commonly played, and they're going to change the shape of PvZ Heroes as we know it. The second category are the cards that I really don't think they're going to see much more play than they did before, even though they have been buffed. And then the third category are going to be the wild cards. It's going to be the non-obvious cards that, you know, they're not just going to be easy just to throw into a deck and get value. They're going to take a lot of creativity. These are going to be some of my favorite cards to really be using the creativity and try to build decks around them. And they definitely have that potential to come in and change PvZ Heroes, but they're going to be niche and they're going to be difficult and to be putting into decks. Now, we're going to just be going into the collection and starting first with the most meta defining cards. Before I start this, I want to again just really pour out my appreciation to whoever you are at PopCap. Thank you so much for, I mean, we're living in an era in 2025 and PvZ Heroes is getting balance patches. This is just I don't even have the words to express my appreciation. This is really, really awesome. And again, especially the fact that they heard the community and took the feedback and reverted some of the really, really, you know, overpowered changes. That is really, really awesome. So we're going to be starting with the Guardian class. And so the first meta defining plant strategy now is that tempo is back. Tempo kind of died with Triceratops on the plant side. Used to play Forget-me-nots on 1, Triceratops on 2, photosynthesizers. Triceratops was the most powerful card in that strategy and it got nerfed. This is actually not a very good card these days. But now Tempo has returned with cards from the Guardian, the Mega Grow, and the Solar, and I'm going to be going through them one at a time. Pismachio, I think, is actually a really good card. It's overstated. It's super versatile because of its team up. It looks really simple, but the fact this can be played behind things, in front of things, it has good stats in itself. I think this actually is going to see a lot of play, and it's going to be a strong part of the tempo strat. Now, this is not even as strong as the next 2 cards I'm going to show you, namely one of the strongest cards right now in this balance patch is Steel Magnolia. The fact this is a 3-cost 3/4 in itself without any other abilities make this so playable. It's such a good tempo. It's like a, you know, it's like Rescue Radish with no downside. Rescue Radish used to only be able to play with like little buddies. Now this is Rescue Radish level stats, but also can protect your other cards. It can put so much stats on the board. For a 3-cost card, this is amazing, and this will be meta defining, and this is going to be a really important part of the tempo. The other card is Red Stinger. Now, just from the little bit I've been playing with this, this is a really good tempo card. 3/7 is great stats for a tempo trait. It's really, really overstated. And then you have the fact that you can play behind to get power. Every tempo deck, a tempo deck means you're gaining slowly more stats than your opponent every single turn. Sort of like the Forget-me-nots Triceratops. Click P, for example, you get a 1 cost 2/2, and then a 2 cost 3/3. That would be an example of a tempo strategy, rather than aggro, which is just trying to do as much damage as possible, or control, which means trying to stall for the late game and then really put on the heavy hitters. And this is going to be a really, really good tempo card. The fact that, again, since tempo decks and PvZ heroes need to have aggression, they need to push and sort of beat your opponent before they're able to play all their super powerful late game cards. The fact you can turn this into a heavy hitter, it's so versatile. The 7/3 stats, they did actually fix this text from 7/2 to 7/3. Now that I'm remembering text changes, they also made the Solar Flare power say that it does exactly what it says. So that was a text change, and also, again, a little quality of life. They also changed the Mime Guard that used to say untrickable. Now it doesn't say untrickable. It says exactly what it does, so that's pretty awesome. But getting back to Red Stinger, again, it's not, even if it was just a 3/7 with Team Up, the fact you can play it in front of something and protect a really key card, it's just so versatile. You can just play this anywhere, and again, it's 7 damage for 4. It's so good. You just look at the situation on the board and play this adaptively, and this is really, really good, and it's such even a better card than it looks right now. And the 3 health also, when it's the powerful, the fact it's not dying to a bungee or an extinction. The extinction event, this still does 5 damage. This is a really, really heavy hitter, and I think it's going to see a ton of play. Continuing with the tempo strategy, Bok Choy is much better with the team up. I always thought this was like, oh, it can protect something, you can play in front of something. What I'm really realizing is that Bok Choy right now is Shellery, an underrated card, but just way better. It's exactly the same thing, except it gains 3 attack the turn that you play it. So it's a much more powerful card. The cool thing about Shellery is always the fact, and the reason I used to run it a lot in aggro decks, is the fact that the team up kind of makes it bullseye, because if you put it teamed up with another plant, it only charges the block meter once when they both hit, so it really adds that level of power. Bok Choy does the exact same thing, except it's a really powerful card. This is going to be really useful, and I think this is a much better card than anyone is even giving it credit for. Just, again, as an aggro card, Bok Choy, or a control card to be able to take out key threats like Conman and Headstone Carver, this was anyway good. It's just so versatile with the team up. The other card in the Mega Hero class, so Cabbage Pulse is going to be run in tempo decks as a 1 or a 2 of. You can't really run more than 2. The awesome thing is if you don't play this on heights, it's at least now it's a 2 cost 2/3, which is average stats. But the 2 cost 3/4 is really the play you're looking for. It obviously is competing with itself for the heights lanes, but this will be run as a 1 or 2 of in the new tempo decks. Now, the real heavy hitter tempo card in the Mega Hero class is Fertilize. This is a high risk, high reward card. The risk, obviously, you need a plant to be on the board. If you don't have it, if they answered your plants for a couple of turns, Fertilize does nothing. But right now, the reward at +4/+4 is insane. This is so much stats. And again, you gotta obviously play around Rocket Science and the big removal cards, but if you're able to do that, growing something and then using any kind of bonus attacks, whether it be plant food or coffee grounds, a lot of other cards, or Espresso Fiesta, any other of the cards that are in this Mega Hero class are going to capitalize on this huge amount of stats. Playing this on amphibious minions is crazy, guys. It's so powerful just playing this on a Lima Pleurodon or a Stingbean or something sitting in the water. Obviously, Mega Hero doesn't have any amphibious minions, but a few of the other classes do. And then finally, the big finisher in all of these tempo, if you're going to be running Mega Grow, you're going to be running Espresso Fiesta. I would say at this point this is better than Plant Food because, again, it costs 3 more, but this is just an automatic finisher. This is just 3 Plant Foods in a row. The fact this went down to 7, again, I thought this was going to be super overpowered, super oppressive. I think this is good. It's really, really good. But I think this is actually in an okay place right now, and it's really important for tempo decks to have a way to finish games, and Espresso Fiesta is most certainly that. Then when we're talking still about tempo strategies, the other 2 cards, first is going to be Sunshroom. Now, you think of this as a ramp card, but I'm really going to think this is going to be more of a tempo card. If you're gaining more sun every turn than your opponent, then you're going to be able to put more stats on the board than your opponent. You can Sunshroom on 1, Fertilize on 2, and get a 4/8 Sunnier Shroom, which is ramping, which is also crazy. This is the best card right now that the that the Forget-Me-Nots and the Primal Sunflower got nerfed, I would say this is going to be the best card in the balance patch. This will be useful in ramp decks, in late game decks. It'll definitely have that use, but this I think is even going to be more prevalent in the tempo, because all of a sudden you're playing a 3-drop the next turn, and then if the Sun Earshroom, which has 3 health, since this has 3 health, you're going to be able to play 5 Sun on turn 3, which is just ridiculous. The fact this also has 2 health makes it really not that easy, unless they have Morticia Bats or something like that. Not easy for a lot of, it doesn't die to nibble. It's really, really, really good for a 1-drop. The other sort of card that I think will see some, maybe this is a little bit more niche, but I think Mixed Nuts is really, really good right now. In a deck that you're just trying to pile on so much stats that the opponent just runs out of answers, Mixed Nuts is going to be a big deal. The reason this is niche is because you really basically have to be running at least 10 or 12 team-up cards in order for this even to be worth running at all. Because obviously a 2-cost 2/2 is going to be terrible. It needs to have the team up, but since you anyway have Sunshroom that's going to be in all these decks, and you have a lot of other good team up cards like Colonel Pulse, and then Bonk Choi is another one, if you're Chompzilla. So you should be able to find the use for the Mixed Nuts. A little bit more niche, but it's definitely part of that tempo strategy. All right, so now that we're done with the important tempo cards, and again, this is going to be much more relevant for Chompzilla, for Wall Knight, and for Mega Grow Guardian, which is going to be Grass Knuckles. Those are going to be the 3 heroes that got Giga buffed, because all of those contain 2 classes that got buffed. But for all the heroes, except for Nightcap, who is sad didn't get any cards buffed since he's Smarty and Kabloom, they're also going to just be able to utilize these buffed cards with their other cards of their other class. So the tempo will be relevant for every single Guardian, Mega Grow, and Solar Hero. So moving on to the second thing is going to be Peas. Now, I kind of skipped over this before, but the fact that Torchwood, this probably was way more overpowered than it seems. I did actually decide intentionally to keep this budget deck, since a lot of people were wondering about this. This is a budget version of the last YouTube video I made about the Peas. And I do think that Peas, even with the Torchwood getting reverted, are actually good. And the number one reason for that is actually Pea Patch. This is, first of all, can be used as a tempo card in the tempo decks. The 2-cost 2/3 rather than the 2-cost 2/2, that was the buff, is so important because this can win trades now. You can play this in front of something, in front of their space time, or in front of a 2/2 that they played, in front of their cheese cutter, whatever they played that turn, or in front of their aerobic instructor, something with only 2 attack. And then it can be evolved and still get the full 2/2 buff. And that makes this a very good tempo card, because you just get so much more value and you're gaining more stats than your opponent. So first of all, in the tempo strat, but also the Peas needed another 2-cost P. Black Eye, this is basically going to take the place of Black Eyed P in the P decks with the Gatling Peas. This is just so sad, 2-cost 2/2, but 2-cost 2/2 is bad stats, 2-cost 2/3 is good. This has also obviously other uses in order to making a big card, and especially playing a Gatling P on top of that means the Gatling P is doing 7 attack and then it's a 7/6 double strike, which is great. So this itself, combined with the fact that Pod Father anyway got buffed before, not in the recent balance patch, but in the first one. So this is a lot stronger. And then, of course, you have Sting Bean, which is a super versatile card. I skipped over Sting Bean before, but Sting Bean in P decks is really, really good, because this can be played now because of the team up, little buff, but now it can be played in front of your Podfather to protect it. It's just way more versatile when a card is team up. This can also be stacked in amphibious decks, also can be stacked with other cards in the water. Amphibious is still really, really good, and Sting Bean is anyway a card I used to run in the Citron and Beta Caratina. And the team up really does make a difference, and it makes it a really strong card. If you want to see how good Sting Bean is, just watch the P video that I already posted, not the budget version, the expensive version, from when Torchwood was making everything bullseye. I still think that this is viable, though. Again, maybe in this deck we wouldn't actually run the Torchwood. Maybe we would run something like Fertilize. Probably that would be more of the strat in this deck list, because Torchwood isn't quite as good. Probably just take out the Torchwoods and put in the Fertilize, and you're good. Good to go. All right, so moving on after Peas, there's one more card that I think is sort of stands alone as a meta-defining card, and that is going to be Walnut Bowling. Control decks are going to be stronger because Walnut Bowling comes one turn earlier. This was really good at 9, now it's exceedingly good at 8, and this is going to be really meta-defining because it comes out faster. Control decks are going to be a thing. This is kind of the control card. I'll get to the other ones later because they're going to be more wild cards. Now, cards that I think are not going to really make a big difference. Well, they're playable. You know what I mean? All the cards on this in the unplayable list are playable, but they're not really going to make a very big difference. Sea Shroom is one. This is just going to be a niche card for Guardian to have an answer to Toxic Waste Imp. And honestly, Guardian already had an answer to Toxic Waste Imp Hot Date, which was better, because Hot Date, you can't Bungee or Rolling Stone this. Sea Shroom, you can. If you have a Toxic Waste Imp that needs an answer, it should probably be something that is not answerable. But again, it fills that niche. I guess it's kind of like Lima Pleurodon. I guess technically is it's a good answer to Toxic Waste Imp on turn 2. And that's what this is going to be. The fact you can run this with Spadao and then Buff Shroom and Buff in the Water, again, that'll be super, super niche. That's not going to affect the meta at all. The other cards that I don't think are really going to see much play or are really that important is Cactus. That got buffed to 3 cost 2/5. Honestly, 2 cost 1/5 was probably better. The only real use of this was either with Briar Rose because it's a high health flower, or with Pecanolith because it's a high health bullseye. So it actually has become worse, being 3 cost 2/5. It's not going to be worth it. Same thing with Juggernaut. 3 cost, let's call this a 3 cost 2/4 because of the armor. Not super useful. The team up, it's kind of cool, but it's just understated. Like, why would you ever run a 3 cost 2/4 if in the same class you could just run a 2 cost 2/4? It's missing the bullseye, but it's cheaper. I think that Pismachio is just a better version of Juggernaut. I don't think this is gonna see much play. Also, Soul Patch is cute. At 6 cost, it is completely outclassed by Gravitry still, that has the Untrickable and probably the better ability, because again, it's not only blocking, but it's making your opponent have some really, really difficult situations and terrible trades. This will be, again, niche with the Briar Rose strategy. It is a good card. 6 cost 5/10 with its ability. This is fine. This might see some play in control decks, but again, it's not going to really make... I don't think this is going to make a big difference. We'll see if it get played, but not a big deal. The next one, when we're moving on to the Mega Grow, is gonna be Lily of the Valley. So yeah, this makes it, the 2 attack instead of 1, it kind of makes it lose trades less often. But at the end of the day, this isn't gonna really make a difference. This will be just as much played as it was before. The 2/2 doesn't, again, 2 cost 2/2 is terrible stats. I think that's really sort of the key to a lot of these, is just forgetting about the abilities of the card. Look at the stats. If the stats suck, the card is really not going to be reliable. If the stats are good, the card is going to be good. It's something I've really learned recently because of the recent balance patches, how important the base stats of a card really is. Obviously, you can still play this on turn 3 with the Shroom for 2 if you're Captain Combustible. It's fine, but yeah. Not a very important card. Banana Split, I don't think the 1 extra health is really going to make a difference. It's better now. This can be, again, played in niche decks where you have to have a minion on the board, so then you can fertilize. Like, if they kill this, you can then fertilize little half bananas. That's cool because fertilize is a thing. But other than that, it's not going to make a big difference. Plucky Clover also, it's a little bit too expensive for what it does. The little attack boost is nice, but it'll be a really, really niche card. Not going to really make a big difference in the meta. The other cards that I skipped over we're going to the solar class. So the first one is going to be Sage. See, if this was just 2 cost 2/3 draw a card, I think, or even 2/2 draw a card, it could be that would be good. The fact that it's only drawing cards once he hits a turn 6, do you really need a 2 cost 2/3 draw a card on turn 6? Not really. Obviously, this does have par stats. This will see more play now because, again, it is on par for turn 2, but it's not going to matter. It's just really a 2 cost 2/3 and not very good in the late game. Just run a late game card. I mean, I guess, like, if you need, like, early game answers, little stalling for the early game, and then you don't want them to be much of a liability in the late game, sort of like Reincarnation, I guess it'll fill that niche. I still don't think people are going to run this. The other Cosmic Flower, it's just really bad stats at the end of the day, and it's not conjuring anything too important for it to be justified. Chomper gained extra health. What I think this needed was extra attack. Right now, it's not going to see any play. It's still just hammer, but worse. This had 3 attack, though, and is actually a threat on the board, so I think that would really... I think this should have gone to 3-2. That would have really fixed this card. Of course, also Smashing Pumpkin, 6 cost 6/6. It's just 3 to Chomper, but worse. This is not going to see any play. Obviously, it's just a chunk of stats at 6 cost. All right, so the next ones are going to be also that I don't think are going to matter that much as Sunflower Seed. This is a ramp card that has a very difficult ability to activate it. It needs to die, which is very difficult to happen. Again, niche card, not going to really matter. Same thing with Toadstool, the extra health. This was a half-decent card, especially if you're facing a lot of cowboys and things with 4 less attack that you really have to answer. You can ramp up to turn 8, so you play this, turn 6, and then the next turn you can walnut bowling. But that it's going to be really stay in the same niche as it always was before. So those are the cards that don't matter, and now I want to get into some of my favorites, which are going to be the wild cards. And the first one is none other than one of my favorite cards right now in PvZ Heroes. Can't believe I'm saying this in 2025. It's Starch-Lord, man. The little bit that I've tested this, I did it in a Walnut ramp deck, so ramping to this is going to be one way. The other way is with Spit Out and Imitator Starch-Lord, because then you get 2 on the board. And 1 buffs they both actually buff now, since Starch-Lord is getting self-buffs every time you play a route. Starch-Lord, guys. Starch-Lord is... The reason this matters so much is the fact that it's getting buffed is because before it was a understated card, and the whole point was just to buff others. It took a really long time for it to really get enough value. It kind of just was a late game card draw card. But now this is a big threat in itself. It really fits the theme of the other cards in this patch, that when a card gets good stats, then its abilities can really shine, but it has to have a base amount of stats. And this, again, play 1 route, and this is already a 4-cost 3/5, which is really good. Obviously, if you're playing a bunch of routes, it becomes a 7/9 and a 9/11 and a 12/14. But anyway, the cool thing right now about Starch-Lord is the fact that you don't have to run a lot of routes in the deck for this to be good. You can literally just run it with Walnut ramp to it and just spam Starch-Lord, and it's just the roots that it conjures are enough to justify this card. You play 1 route, so that route got 1/1 buff, and now this is a 3/5. Like, that is already a fine card, besides for the fact it's also drawing you. Like, that's a great card already. So the versatility of this is going to be, it's much, much easier, as opposed to before you had to run it in a Spit Out deck with just a million roots and Raptors and Triceratops and stuff like that. You don't got to do that. Starch-Lord stands alone as its own threat. So that's really cool. This is going to be a wild card because, again, you can't just throw Starch-Lord into every deck. What is this? Is this a tempo card? It's kind of slow for a tempo card. It's not a control card. It's not an aggro card. So this is kind of like a value card draw. That's going to be the challenge of Starch-Lord, and it is a challenge that I am more than happy to be facing. I do have the chat off for this part of the stream, but I just want to turn them on for a second, because I'm sure all of you guys on YouTube know exactly which copy pasta they are spamming right now. All right, we are going to be moving right along to Cosmic Nut. This is again, a 4-cost 4/3, which is pretty decent stats, but then it's conjuring this nut with the attack that's 4 now instead of 3. I've been getting like a 2-cost 4/10 water chestnut from this amphibious team up, which is just so ridiculous. This is doing so much more than it used to. This is going to be, again, a wild card, because, again, where does this fit? It's not an aggro, not a control. Maybe it's a control card because it's doing 4 damage, answering something, and then drawing you an OP card. Maybe this is a control card. It's going to take some creativity, but I'm really, really excited about this. And again, with a little bit of creativity, this is going to be really, really good. Next one is Perica. Oh, this is a tough... I've seen some people get some real value from this, because just the fact that the pair cubs are going to be buffing your other pair cubs when they die, and then just running this with a pair cup anyway was a really, really good card. I'm going to say don't try to shove this into a deck with as many fruit as possible. That's going to ruin it. Use this for the value, and if it happens to hit a fruit, then now, again, pair cub was amazing before. It was a really good card before, and now it's spectacular. And being, sort of having that little bit of extra power is definitely going to make pair cub really cool. I don't think it's going to matter when it comes to fruit decks, and that's why I'm not putting it in the 10 meta defining the meta defining cards. All right, well, we're going to move on to Body Gourd. Maybe I should have put this in the meta defining ones, because this is a really, really strong. This will be really good in control decks because it's blocking and giving you superpowers. Maybe this will also be viable in the tempo decks as well, because it's putting a ton of stats on the board. It's super versatile with the team up and the amphibious, and it's also giving you tempo because you're gaining superpowers. That's the thing, blocking. It's not only defending you, but it's giving you more tempo. You're getting a superpower that you can play for free once you block. So this I probably should have put in the meta defining ones. It's a little expensive. It's not going to be really part of like the cheaper cards, and the tempo decks are going to be more important. I guess this will end up being a little niche, but I think this is quite good. I'm really excited to find the real use of Body Gourd. But Body Gourd, it lacked the stats, it lacked the power. As a 5-cost card, needs to help finish off opponents, and now at 4 attack, I think it really does that. Even though it dies to rocket science, it's fine. It has power. That's what it needed. Another wild card is going to be Umbrella Leaf. At 2 health, this survives a lot more. Really looking forward to. It's going to take us still a lot of creativity, because still a 1-cost 0/2. But now again, this is really at the point where it can actually, not just doesn't instantly die to everything at 1 health, and really looking forward to figuring that out. All right, here's one of my favorite cards in the balance patch, and it's definitely a wild card, is Cosmos. This isn't going to be like instantly meta, because you have to be running this with cheap environments, and planned environments, especially Spikeweed Sector got nerfed to 3 costs. Planned environments are in a really bad state. The 2 things that this is going to work with is going to be Coffee Grounds, so that's going to be Chumpzilla. You'll have that with the Mega Row class, and if you play Cosmos on 1 and Coffee Grounds on 2, you have a 4/4 double strike. You're doing 8 damage on turn 2, which is ridiculous. So we already know that's going to be good. I'll be streaming that deck actually right when I'm done with this video. That'll be coming out very soon on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. The other one that is kind of cool is with the Kabloom class. So if you're Solar Kabloom, you're Solar Flare, and you're running like a lot of lava. So you can run Hot Lava, which is 0. And then you can run the Fireweed, which, puts another threat on the board and also is making lava. And those are going to be environments. I've even seen some people theory craft that you can basically have, on turn 2, you can have like basically lethal on turn 2 if you have 2 Cosmoses, and then the other. You start off with, then you play 4 hot lavas on the board, so then you have 2 10/10s, you can get 20 damage on turn 2, basically. So it's going to be fun. I think that's going to be a little worse, because hot lava is the worst of an environment, and it's really going to be a big liability just to run a ton of lava. But again, with lava, you can also run cards like Invasive Species. I'll definitely give that a try with Solar Flare. It seems like it's going to be worth it. But yeah, this is going to be hard card to run, but it's going to be a lot of fun to figure out. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be some other environments we can figure out. Even something like Bog maybe would be really good, because that's a half-decent 2-cost environment. Could be Cosmos on 1, Bog on 2 with Rose. We'll be fine. Another wild card, I'm putting these 2 together, is going to be Bloomerang and Power Flower. These are the same card right now. They're 4-cost, 3/5 Strikethrough. Power Flower obviously being the better one because it can heal you for a little bit. These are basically the same card, and I have a feeling that if we're running these in a deck, we'll be running, 4 copies of each, or at least 4 copies of Power Flower, and then 2 copies of Bloomerang. It is a lot. It's a lot. 4-cost, 3/5 Strikethrough is a lot. This can be a finisher. It is like lacking finisher stats, only having 3 attack. But we do have a lot of Mega Grow cards that increase attack. We have, bonus attacks, Espresso Fiestas. It's going to be a challenge, but I think especially with Chumpzilla that can make these do bonus attacks, I think that, they have 5 health. They're going to be difficult to remove from the board. 3/5 is really difficult to remove from the board. These are going to have a niche, and going to take a little creativity, but totally doable. The next one is Briar Rose. It's going to... people have been saying this is overall a nerf because now it dies to rocket science, and the real value from Briar Rose is not its stats, it's its ability of being able to destroy everything when they touch a flower. I disagree. I think this is overall a buff. It has more stats. It does more power. The fact that this now fills two niches. First of all, it's this removal card that gives you a lot of value. But second of all, it sort of is a finisher. It's doing 4 damage. That is the baseline of finisher level attack stats. I think this actually will be more useful. Again, it's going to be taking some creativity to find exactly the decks with the flowers. But I think it's pretty good, and overall better, in my opinion. I might be wrong. And the last one I'm going to be grouping together is going to be Cuke at 5 cost, and in the same category, I'm going to kind of put Doomshroom, which is over here, that got buffed. That now it's conjuring you a mushroom card when you play it, which again does... Control cards love to draw cards because now you're gaining card advantage besides for everything else it's doing. In the same category, I'm also going to put the 9 cost Cornucopia, sort of a niche finisher, obviously very outshined by Walnut Bowling, which is going to be much better at 8, but this still is viable. So what about control? I think that Cuke at 5 is a very decent control card. Think of it as Lawnmower, but it just costs 1 more and it can hit several minions at a time. We're gonna have to see again the exactly where we can how we're gonna be able to make control decks that are super late game control, Cuke, Doomshroom, maybe some of the other cards like Cosmic Nut, maybe some of those ones will also, in Briar Rose, sort of will fill that niche in the control decks. And then you have, again, all these really cool finishers. So really looking forward to the Walnut decks that are just complete troll. And, you know, you can use like maybe 4 Walnut Bowling and several Cornucopias as a finisher. So this is going to be cool, niche, and definitely a wild card in this game. Cornucopia probably, if I'm being perfectly honest, still not going to see a lot of play at 9 because it doesn't do a lot if you have other minions on the board, and it also is usually making a lot of 1 and 2 cost minions. It happens to be specifically when you're running the Cuke, which means you're kind of building the deck that you don't have a lot of minions on the board. You're really running it very pure removal base. A Cornucopia comes a lot better because you have an empty board, and Cornucopia does obviously a lot more when the board on both sides is empty. Anyway, guys, that is my meta reaction to the recent balance patches. Another huge shout out to whoever you are at PopCap. We love you, and we are at PvZ Heroes, and is in a really good state right now, and I'm really looking forward to use some of these new cards, a lot of these new cards, and a lot of new types of decks, especially those tempo plant decks. Really excited to try those out. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. This is Fry. Making content for you guys is a full-time job, and it's only possible with your support. Click the link in the description to join my Patreon for access to exclusive streams, deep fry podcasts, private video calls, and more.